دكتور مصطفى ممكن تتفضل على البوديوم؟ خلاص. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for giving me the chance to say a few things. I will start first with some answers about questions on Al Jazeera. Okay? And I'm speaking in English even though I was telling my friend that I was speaking Arabic. But I think most people here feel more comfortable listening directly to the language in English. First of all, Al Jazeera is an independent media institute, media center, media network. Regardless of what is being said and has been said for many years about its independence, because it's financed by the Qatari state, they say all are a part of the Qatari state. Qatari state doesn't have anything to do with Al Jazeera except the financing. And you might ask why Qatari state would finance a media network if they are not going to get something back. Well, I would say one thing. If you find somebody to do the same thing, grab it. Because it is truly an amazing thing to find the finance from a state that doesn't interfere in your business without you going commercial, and therefore you will be tied and prevented from doing your job, because if you do it, you will not get the money, you will not get the business. It's a long story, but I don't have the time to tell you why, but this is the truth. Second thing, I always tell people, if you find something about Al Jazeera that is in line with the Qatari diplomacy or politics, you have to look at it from 2 points of view. One of them is that, well, what they are doing has to be reported accurately, and that accuracy reflects the good work that Qatar is doing, not because Al Jazeera wants to make it look good. Second thing is that you have to know, quite often Al Jazeera does things that is completely opposite to the interests of Qatar, and quite often creates some problems for Qatar. As you all know, many countries withdraw their ambassador just because of Al Jazeera. But the government in Qatar, the people in the government are not allowed to contact Al Jazeera about what it does. And when I tell you this, I'm telling you because I'm the Director-General, and I know nobody from the government contact me to tell me what we have to do or not to do. It is not, they are not allowed. And that kind of forbidding kind of thing came from the father Amir, who is retired now, who created Al Jazeera. And it's respected up till now. And I hope it will be over with it. The other thing is that many people say that Al Jazeera, oh, Al Jazeera is not objective, it's not this, it's not that. I always tell people, listen, don't tell me Al Jazeera is not objective or objective. If there is something wrong, if Al Jazeera did something wrong, report something wrong, bring us that thing. And I challenge them, and nobody has ever came back to me and saying, ha, look at this. Look, Al Jazeera did something wrong. Nobody. And when I say this, I say it very seriously and honestly. The question is that quite often, I mean, first of all, we have to say that when we, in any television station, you have to report the news, the event, what's going on. Your reporters, and you are responsible for reporting facts as they are. And that's where we can check the facts and see whether they are right or not. In this respect, I always challenge people, tell us, if you do something wrong, then it would make it really easy for us to correct it if you tell us, but we cannot see it. There's nothing there. Then you have the opinions of the experts, of politicians, of activists, etc., that are guests, that come as guests in Al Jazeera. And in Al Jazeera, we have always this creed, this principle that we have always the opinion and the other opinion. That's why we call Al Jazeera the television of the opinion and the other opinion. So many times, people who are guests come up with things that are not true. But they are representing their own government or their own organization. Quite often, people outside there, they say, oh, that's Al Jazeera said. That's not Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is not responsible for the opinion of its guests. It's responsible for bringing people who are known to be respected, like, politicians or head of organizations, etc., etc. But you cannot tell them you say this and you don't say that. It would be impossible to do. So when it comes to reporting, Al Jazeera is very sure that what we do report is the facts as they are. Facts as they are. Now, go to the other point. In order to make sure that things are done properly, we have more than one level to verify them. First of all, our brother Salah Najm told you how they work. They are very serious, they are professional with tens of years of information, of experience. And therefore they know how to do the job. And that's one thing. So we have an editorial team that is highly qualified. Second, Al Jazeera has people working for it from more than 90 nationalities. In Doha itself, we have about 50 different people from different groups, nationalities, ethnic groups, religions, etc., etc. These people are not going to allow you to falsify news coming from the world. They themselves control and verify and don't allow for this kind of mistakes. And that's why we have this wide, very international perspective on things. That's one level. The second level is what our friend Omar said. That is, we have this Senate that is working on verifying news. Anything that smells right, as they say, has to be verified before it goes to the news. The second one is that we have a whole department of editorial standards that follow everything that is being broadcast on television or on other media. And if they see any deterioration from the editorial standards, from the ethics of Al Jazeera, etc., they will report it right away to the newsroom, to the director of news, and the director, and the concerned people, and me personally. I receive quite often. I mean, now if I open my telephone, I will find many things. I say, okay, you made a mistake in this, you made a mistake in that. But when you make a mistake, it's not about falsifying news. It's mistakes in the language, mistakes in images, mistakes in the technical things, etc. However, if we find that we made a mistake, like with the news, etc., we fix it right away. So this is very important to say. This is the first part of my talk. The second part, I hope I will make it brief, because I was supposed to give a speech here for half an hour. You are saved from a long speech. So I will try to bring the core idea. We have been talking about disinformation in relation to things that comes every day to us. I mean, things that happen, like what you mentioned about this baby killing and burning, etc., on the 7th of October. That was completely false, and we knew it was false, and we said from the beginning this is false. but the international media and politicians, including Mr. Biden, President of the United States, took it from the mouth of the biggest liar of this century, that is Netanyahu, and promoted it. And then later on, he didn't go back and say, I am sorry, I made a mistake. But the media did, even he did. Now, the problem is that we have to think also about the disinformation, misinformation, whatever you call it, that created the problem in Palestine, that is becoming an international problem, a real international problem. That is the creation of Israel in the land of the Palestinians. Where did it come from? It came from, in my opinion, the biggest lie in the last 2 centuries, which was created at the beginning of the 20th century, promoted, but it existed before. But beginning of the 20th century, about the 30s or so, it was promoted so widely and turned into a real fact in the minds of people who are supporting Israel. That is, the Zionist movement adopted this thing that says a land without people to the people, a people without a land. And that is, Palestine was without people, even though the Palestinians were living there for thousands of years. And to a people without a land, that is the Jewish people who are living all over the world. And it turns into a political decision by the British, not only to give the promises 1917 by Balfour, as you call it, the Balfour Declaration, but also to promote the idea of an independent Israel on more than half, almost 2/3 of Palestine, and turn the Palestinians into subjects with no rights. Now, today, if you follow what Netanyahu is saying, what other ministers are saying, they are saying, there are no Palestinians, we didn't steal the land from them because they don't exist. Wow, it's an amazing thing. The Prime Minister of Israel, one of the most famous in the late 60s, Golda Meir, who has a video, you can look at it, watch it, if you want to Google or to whatever, you find it. She says, well, I am a Palestinian. I had a Palestinian passport. You have a Palestinian passport, but in a country with no Palestinians? Does it make sense? She says that in Hebrew and in English. And it's all over. And then, later on, he said, what are you talking about? You are talking about the Palestinians as if we have taken the land from Palestinians, from people. No, there are no Palestinians. Only there are some Arabs living in the land of the Jews. How the disinformation, how it works, but it turns into a historical narrative that was promoted so widely in the West in particular, through books, history, novels, stories, poetry, Hollywood, of course, did big work there, etc., etc., and then implanted that in the brains, in the minds of people, especially in America. I was so surprised when I was in America to find people thinking they don't know that there are Palestinians. They really don't. And they don't dare to criticize Israel, because if you do, they tell you you are anti-Semitic. I am a Semite. I cannot be anti-Semitic. I am anti-extremist Zionists who are abusing the Palestinians, and they got to the point where now they killed almost 50,000 Palestinians. And still, in America, Biden and his group saying, we have to see whether they are doing and if they are breaching they are in breach of the international law, or if it's whatever. It's amazing. You can see it with your own eyes. 15,000, more than 15,000 child have been killed. Oh, those are combatants. They are not combatants. It's a funny thing. So this is what the disinformation doesn't only affect the life of people for a certain period of time, but can create a historical deterioration from the truth, a historical misuse that is against anything that humanity should believe in. And this is one of the biggest problems the Palestinians are facing, because the brainwash all over in many places don't believe the narrative of the Palestinians, but they believe Netanyahu's lies. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mostefa, for this comment.